Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me joining in for our very first YouTube Live on my brand new channel. I'm super excited. If you are here already, please say hello in the chat and let me know that you can hear me. This is my first little experiment with YouTube Live, so I'm fingers crossed that the technology gods are going to smile down upon me and let me know that everything is working. So if you could let me know if you could hear me, that would be fabulous. If you are catching us on the replay, I'm so excited to have you here. We are diving into a brand new training, and this is a totally pitch-free training as well, all about how to create your must-have lead magnet that absolutely floods your list with potential buyers. And if you've been catching up on any of the emails that I've been sending out, you would know that today is a double celebration because, for one, it's my birthday. I did have grand plans of having streamers and stuff, but, didn't actually quite work out that way, but that's okay. But it's my birthday today, and I wanted to celebrate with a double celebration by sharing this live training for you and also launching my brand new YouTube channel, which I am very, very excited about because there are so many people who ask me a ton of questions. There are so many people that, love watching my lives and things like that. And I wanted to provide a way for you guys to get regular content from me that really helps you to answer the most pressing questions, particularly when it comes to nailing your marketing message and making sure that you are describing what you do in a way that makes the right people sit up and pay attention. And more importantly, makes the right people say, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. And in today's training, that's really what I want to focus on. I want to talk about how to actually create that lead magnet that when you put it in front of people, they go, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. And it becomes such a no-brainer for them to download it, and away they go. Katie, thank you for letting me know that you are here, and I can see Tavy's here as well. So great that you can actually hear me, that I know that it's working and I'm not just talking to myself. So thank you, ladies, for joining me. We are going to dive pretty well straight into today's training. The main thing that I want you to let you ladies and everybody else who's watching, not just ladies, maybe there's some gents watching as well. If you are watching and you want to be able to get your hands on my weekly dose of marketing message smackdown, if let's call it that, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And if you hit that little bell to be notified, you will get a little heads up anytime I post a new video. My first video is dropping on Monday, and I'm kind of a bit proud of it. I think it's actually really good. So I know you guys will love it as well. So subscribe and you'll stay tuned to all of those videos as they drop each week. So today's training, we're going to jump right into it. We are focusing on how to craft your must-have lead magnet. Now, there's so much I could talk about when it comes to lead magnets. I could talk about the technology you should use or what format you should use. But really what I want to focus today's training on is how to make sure that you are choosing the right lead magnet to attract the right people. Because perhaps if you're watching this, you might have created lead magnets in the past. Maybe they did really well, or maybe they sat in lead magnet graveyard, never to be downloaded, or perhaps they got some downloads, but then people pretty promptly unsubscribed from your list and said, thanks very much, see you later. So perhaps you fall into one of those different categories. If you are online at the moment, I would love to know where you sit on that. Have you ever created a lead magnet before? How did it go? Did you get people? Did they unsubscribe? Let me know what your situation has been with lead magnets in the past. So I want to make sure that as we are creating these lead magnets, we are actually making something that will inspire people to click, that will actually get them downloading. But we also want to make sure that that lead magnet is actually moving your people towards what it is that you want to ultimately sell them. So I'm going to make a big assumption here. I'm going to assume that most of the people who are joining me for this training actually want to attract clients. If you are in a stage of your business where you are purely focused on building a community, maybe you don't have anything to sell right now, that's totally fine. And this training will be helpful for you. But ultimately, the goal for this training is how do we make sure that that lead magnet is actually going to move people towards the thing that you want to sell them. Okay, so that's where our focus is today. Hey, Mara, you're here too. You're moonlighting. I still know your brand well enough. I know that that's fantastic as you. So, and thank you for the happy birthdays. I really appreciate it. So let me know where you're up to with your current lead magnet. But one of the first things that I want to focus on, knowing that that's where we want to ultimately take people, is step one when you are creating your lead magnet is you need to know, where do I want to take these people? What is the ultimate destination that I want them to go to? Perhaps it is your signature coaching program. Maybe you have a group coaching program. Maybe you have a signature service or a signature product. What is the ultimate destination that you would want new leads to get to? Sometimes I think we fall into the trap when we're creating these lead magnets that we're like, what can I do to just get people on my list? And we don't necessarily take the time to go, okay, but if they come in here, are they going to end up here? And how can I make that journey as easy as possible and as fast as possible? What do I need to do to avoid this being a 12-month journey from the first time that they connect with me to when they actually want to make a purchase? So we want to look at, is there a logical path from this point to this point? But also, are we getting there in the fastest way possible as well? So what is that ultimate destination? I want you to make sure that you're not just list building for the sake of it, that you're not just getting every man and his dog to subscribe to your email list, because that's not actually helpful for you unless they are the right type of people who would ultimately want that destination, who would ultimately want to go there. So bear this in mind. If this is where you want to take them, for the right people who would want to buy this, you need to start to think about, what questions is that person asking right now? What are the things that challenge them? What are the things that bother them? What are the things that they're really struggling with? If we're looking for the person who is going to end up here, who would look at that offer and go, wow, that is exactly what I need, think about where they are along that journey and what are the questions that they are asking themselves right at this minute. And that is what we need to start to service in our lead magnet. So I want to give you an example as to how I break this down in my own business. So those of you who've been following me for a little while would know that I specialize in messaging, and ultimately the problem that my clients struggle with is that they are phenomenal at what they do. They know that they have a service that can create incredible transformation in their clients' lives, but they just struggle with how to communicate that. And ultimately it means that they're not getting the flow of clients in their business that they really deserve and need to keep their business afloat. So this person has the talent, but doesn't quite know how to wrap that up and describe it in a way that connects and not just helps people to get it, understand it, but also want it. So ultimately, the destination that I want to take most of my clients to is my group coaching program. Oh my God, I need that. And so I need to think about, okay, what type of person needs to buy that program? And if they need to buy that program, what are the things that they struggle with? And I break down my work into three main categories. So the first category is how to create an offer. And that's what we're here to talk about today. How do you actually create an offer that people want, whether that's the signature offer you're trying to take them to or the first step offer? How do we package that offer in a way that actually makes people want it? So offers is one category that I break my work down into. Then a second category is messaging, because it's great to have an offer, but unless you know how to actually talk about that in a way that's going to make people understand it, then nobody's taking you up on that offer. So I have offers, I have messaging, and then the third category for my work is sales, because it's great to have an offer. It's great to know how to talk about it in a really compelling way. But if you're going to fall over at the finish line and not know how to actually sell your service in a really genuine, authentic, and compelling way, then you're still not going to be making those sales. So when you're thinking about your signature offer, I want you to think about how you can break that down. What are the main chunks or categories of that work? Now, for me personally, I love to lead with messaging. That's my favorite topic to talk about. It's one of the things that I can talk about pretty well and pretty good at. So I tend to lead with messaging. So that is one category that my clients struggle with. Then I look at that category and I break it down into the micro questions that people have when it comes to messaging. So if I'm creating a lead magnet, I look at when it comes to one of those categories, for me, it's messaging, what are all the questions? And if you were to sit down for your own work and actually go, okay, what are all the questions that people ask me or that people need help with when it comes to this topic? That's where your lead magnet juice is coming from, okay? So for me in messaging, it could be things like how to write a headline, how to write sales page copy, how do I write social media posts, how do I introduce myself at a networking event? How do I pitch my services on a sales call? So if I think about messaging, there are so many questions and so many little struggles that my people could potentially be challenged by. And that gives me a list of 150 different potential topics that I could have for my lead magnet. All right. So I want you to think about yourself. What is the ultimate destination that you want your clients to go to? What are the kind of core pillars of that work, like the core challenges or struggles that people who need that service or program have? And then you can take one of those categories and you can slice it down into these little tiny slivers to go, what are the micro questions that people who need this are asking right now? So those of you who are online with me right now, I would love you to pop into the chat if you have a current lead magnet or one that you've used in the past, or even one that you're thinking about. I would love you to pop it into the chat, just like what the headline or what the name of that would be. If you don't have a headline yet, make sure you stay tuned for next week's video. But if you don't have a headline yet, what is the kind of core concept that you're thinking of putting together? All right. I would love to see what examples you already have. That will just help me to guide you, ladies. And what I can actually do is if you're popping those examples in the chat for me, I can give you some feedback as to whether this is on track, whether it needs to be a bit more juicier, whether that's a question that people are actually asking. So pop those into the chat. I would love to see them. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. And as you're doing that, I'm going to take a little sip of water and I'm going to move on to step number 2. So step number 1 is think about that ultimate destination. And if that's where they want to go, what are the first questions that they would be asking right now? And that gives you the fodder for your lead magnet creation. Step number 2 is to answer one of those questions with your lead magnet. And the most important thing to think about here is, what do they actually want to know? Not what do you want to teach them? I'll step back a second there, because it's not about what you want to teach them at all, but it's way, way, way more about what they actually want to learn. And here's where we need to really remember that your potential client is where they are. You are in the position where you're ready to help that person, which usually means that you have evolved past the struggle that they're having. You have worked through it. You figured out how to get past it. You are usually further along the journey than the people that you are trying to help. At least I hope you are. That's kind of the deal, right? So you are usually going to be here, and that potential client is, a few steps down the ladder. You really need to think about what are the questions that they have. And you need to make sure that your lead magnet is answering the questions that they have, not necessarily what you want to teach. And let me be clear here. I'm talking about how you're actually going to package up your lead magnet. And I'm going to use a really blanket example here. I'm just going to use the example of weight loss. Let's say that your potential clients really struggle with their weight, and that is their primary concern right now. This is what's going on for them. It's what's annoying them. It's what's frustrating them. It's what keeps them up at night, is this continuous struggle with their weight. Now, perhaps your service helps people to deal with weight loss, but you might actually believe it's got nothing to do with diet. It's got nothing to do with calories in and calories out. It's got nothing to do with exercise. It is all about your mindset. It is all about getting yourself in the right frame of mind, breaking those habits. That might be what you want to teach people, which is great. But you need to remember that they are here. And currently they are focused on, if I could just find the right diet, if I could just figure out how to exercise, if I could just make time, if I could just stop sabotaging myself. That are the that is the problem that they're experiencing. That is the way that it's showing up for them. And if you're over here talking about mindset, you just won't be heard because that is not what they think they need. So sometimes you've got to kind of bite your tongue a little bit, and you need to meet them where they are and answer the questions that are on the tip of their tongue. Then you can actually use the lead magnet itself to bring them across to where you are, to give them that piece of education, to give them that revelation, to give them that new level of understanding where they actually go, oh, all right, that totally makes sense. Like now, yeah, I can let go of the diet and exercise mentality because I realize what you're saying is so true, okay? So that's a really important thing that you need to remember is your lead magnet needs to meet them where they are and answer the questions that they have right now. And then you actually use the content itself to bring them across to where you really want them to be. So that you actually can still teach them what you want to teach them, but you don't get a chance unless you first meet them where they're at, okay? Because you could be like, hey guys, over here, this is really important. This is what you need to focus on. But unless you position it as something that they believe they want or need, they're just not going to hear you, all right? So let me come over to the chat here. So download our 3-2-1 backup guide, okay? Mine is a beginner's guide to setting up a Pinterest business account. Awesome. You're right, it should have been champagne. That'll be afterwards, I promise. Sharon says 50 social media post ideas for accountants and bookkeepers. Excellent. Okay. Hey, Nicole, great to see you. Simple ways to manage stress levels. All right, so we've got some good little things here. So let's start with Mara's download our 3-2-1 backup guide. So I know that Mara works with images and basically how to help people store and manage and organize their online images. So if we're looking at that kind of thing, download our 3-2-1 backup guide. Mara, can you back that up with what's the point of that lead magnet? That's the title. So what's the point of that lead magnet? What am I going to get out of downloading that one? I actually like the beginner's guide to setting up a Pinterest business account. Your social bee, can you tell us what's the point of that as well? So same kind of question for both of you. If that is the headline, what is the point of that? What am I going to actually get out of that? And if you also want to back that up to where are we taking these people ultimately? All right. So this is that first little step. Where are you wanting to take these people ultimately? So Mara says, overcome the fear that they will lose their photos due to tech failure or fire. All right, cool. So perhaps instead of the title or the offer being download our 3-2-1 backup guide, perhaps a better potentially lead magnet idea could be something like protect your digital or protect your precious memories from ever getting lost or damaged. Because that's the question. That is the problem. That is the fear that I have. Okay. So you actually, if you position it, do I care about backing up? Not really. Do I care about not losing my precious memories? Absolutely. So if you can actually position your lead magnet in a way that makes me care about it, in a way that makes me go like, oh my God, what would we ever do if there was a fire? Oh, so I need to, this is the teach component. You want to teach them how to back up their stuff, but where they are is I don't want to lose my stuff. Okay, so meet them where they're at and then bring them across and go, the way that you don't lose that is by backing things up. Does that make sense? We've got to meet them where they are at. So they're going to learn how to set up their Pinterest account strategically and effectively. Hey, Melinda, thank you. How to set up the Pinterest account strategically and effectively. For what purpose? Why do I care about that? Because Pinterest is an interesting one. I'm about to embark on my own little Pinterest journey at the end of this month. And this is a really interesting one because do many businesses know how to use Pinterest strategically and effectively? Absolutely not. So your lead magnet is probably fantastic in answering what they need, but how do we position that as a problem that they want resolved? Okay, because am I sitting here, scrolling through my Facebook feed, just going, man, if only I could find somebody who could teach me how to set up my Pinterest account effectively and strategically. Or am I sitting here going, man, Facebook ads are getting so expensive, and I wish there was a way to get some free leads and free traffic to my website. That's potentially more along the lines of what this person would be concerned about, or what they would be interested in actually clicking on and paying attention to. Does that make sense? So you want to teach them how to set up their Pinterest account strategically and effectively, but is that what they want to learn? Maybe, maybe not. What they really want to learn is, how do I get free leads? How do I get more traffic? How do I get more eyeballs on the brilliance that I have to offer? So if you position the exact same lead magnet as how to answer that particular question, now I'm interested. Now you will start to attract people that had no interest in Pinterest whatsoever, but you've positioned it as an answer to a problem that they are experiencing. And now they're like, oh, Pinterest, wow, I'd never thought about it. But how would I set up my thing effectively? See? And there you are. Okay. Tavy says she's on French Speak. My one-stop French verb lookup guide. Goal is helping learners to pick the right French verb tense for every sentence. Great. And I'm going to use Tavy as a beautiful example, because Tavy is one of my students from Oh My God, I Need That. And she actually had phenomenal results with her recent lead magnet. So I'm going to be talking about her soon. Right. Do I need something with stats, etc., that educates? You can put the stats into your content, but make sure that you're actually positioning it first as why I should give a shit, right? What is the question that's on my mind that I'm struggling with that your thing can be a solution to? About how Pinterest is amazing, great, but I don't really care about Pinterest. I care about the problem that I have, which is leads becoming too expensive, needing cheaper ways to attract clients. Is Pinterest the answer? Great. So sometimes if you lead with the tool, if you lead with the method that you have, if you lead with backing up or Pinterest or whatever it is, that is the tool that you use to affect change. That is not necessarily what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is the result. What I'm looking for is an answer to the problem that I'm experiencing. And Pinterest is going to be a fantastic solution that so many people need to discover. But for many people, myself included, Pinterest was just this thing that I looked up recipes or, ogled over pretty interior design work. I hadn't really considered how that platform could be effective for my business. And it was only when somebody said, well, hey, Facebook ads are getting really expensive these days. Like, do you want ways to get more free traffic to your website? I'm like, hell yes. So by answering the problem or the concern that I have, now you can go, well, do you want this? And I say, yes, that's what I want. And you go, well, Pinterest is the way to do it. Okay. So that is a really big one for all of you to remember. And that is step number 2. Make sure that you are answering their question with your lead magnet. What do they want to know? Not what you want to teach. Answer the question that they actually have, and then teach them how your solution actually gives them the result that they're looking for. Okay. All right. Awesome. I'm going to move on to step number 3 after I take a little sip of water. You never know. It could be champagne. I could be lying to all of you. All right. So step number 3 is a really big one here, because this is the part that will actually keep them subscribed and keep them moving towards your offer. Because hands up, you can say, yes, that's me in the chat, if you have ever had people who have grabbed your freebie and ran. You can even say, yes, me, if you have been the type of person who has downloaded a freebie and ran. I did it just this week. It is super common for people to grab the freebie and piss right off and never come back and see you again. And quite frankly, they will forget who the hell they downloaded that from. So even if further down the track, I'm just going to use you, Melinda, as the example, even if down the track they go, I really want to actually go back to that Pinterest thing, they're not going to come back to you because you haven't left a memorable enough impression on that person. If they grab your freebie and ran, you haven't stayed in their mind. You're not front of mind for that person. When they go, I need some help with Pinterest, they'll just start looking for Pinterest people, right? So yes, both. Yes, I do it. Email minimalist. It's totally okay to be an email minimalist. That's a really tricky word to say. It's totally okay to do that. And, you're not going to keep everybody on your list. But ultimately, if you are going to all the effort of trying to build lead magnets, trying to build your list, trying to attract clients that you ultimately want to take to the end destination of buying your thing, then you need to make sure that you're doing your best to keep them engaged and to keep them on your list and moving towards that offer. And so here's where step number 3 comes in. And I feel like this is a step that a lot of people miss, because we are so focused on the lead magnet that we forget about what am I going to do with them once I get them on board. Okay. So step number 3, when you're thinking about what is that first question that they would need answered, I want you to think about what is the second question that they would need answered. And this is how we're going to take them from that initial point of contact to maintaining them on your list and maintaining them actually wanting to engage with your content. All right. So if this is the question that they have, you're going to answer that with your first lead magnet. But then what is the second question that is the logical next step from that first question? And I want to explain this. So I'll use this YouTube channel as an example. So as I mentioned at the top, this is the launch of my new YouTube channel, and there will be a new video coming out each and every week. And I want you to actually hear how I've planned this out to keep you subscribed, to keep you watching my videos, because I hope that you will like them. But there's a very strategic plan to not just, well, there was a plan to bring people into this first one because I know a lot of my potential clients are really interested in how to create a lead magnet. So that is a strategic choice as the first question that my clients or potential clients would want answered. Then I need to think about, well, what could be the next question? And so here's exactly how I've done that. Today is all about how to create your lead magnet. The first video, official video that is going to drop on Monday, is all about how to write catchy headlines that get way more clicks and views on your content. Okay, so today we're talking about let's actually choose what the lead magnet should look like. In the next video, I'm going to talk about, okay, well, how do you actually write that headline that will make people click on it? Okay. The video that follows on from that, it's like, well, great, I can write a good headline, but what the hell do I put on my landing page? Oh, by the way, I'm answering that question in my second video. And after that, it's how do you write the social media post that will get them to click on their headline, which will get them to go to the landing page, will get them to download this lead magnet. So you can see how I'm actually thinking about, if I solve this particular problem for you, that's great. And hopefully that's really helpful for you. But then there's going to be another question where you go, well, that's really great, but God, what am I going to call it? Or, you know, okay, great. Well, I'm going to build my lead magnet. Now I need to do a landing page. Oh God, what do I write here? And so I'm anticipating what your next questions are likely to be. And I'm already putting together an answer for that. And hopefully, if you're the right type of person, you would hear this bit and you go, oh, I really want to stay tuned for that next one. And then I'll do the next piece and go, well, hey, in my next video. And so that actually pulls people forwards by answering the next most logical question that they are going to have. And ultimately, I'm moving them towards a destination. And Tavi's got it in one, like a Netflix style teaser. The whole point of YouTube, the whole point of an email list, the whole point of actually building a community is to create that kind of Netflix style binge effect where people start to consume what you're putting out there and go, I just want more, I just want more. And if you do that strategically, if you think about what the next question is likely to be, they won't be grabbing the freebie and running because you would have answered their immediate question, and you're preempting what the next question is going to be. And you say, well, hey, look, if you needed this, you're probably also going to need this. And they might not have even known that that was their next question. But when you say, hey, do you also want this? They're like, oh shit, that would be really helpful. All right. So that's how I'm planning to do it with my YouTube channel. And it should be exactly the same with your content. All right. So I want to give you an example of just this week where I downloaded a freebie and unsubscribed straight away. And I'll tell you what the freebie was. I can't even remember the name of the person who gave it, which is also a big hint. But it was something along the lines of 60 questions to boost engagement in your Facebook group. And all in complete transparency, I've let my Facebook group kind of go quiet in the last couple of months. It hasn't been one of my primary focuses. So I saw that and I went, yeah, that's actually really great. What are some questions that I can start to pop in there? I can schedule them out if I want to. That would be actually a really helpful thing. So let's schedule out some of these questions, and that can boost some engagement in my group. Awesome. Great download. And that, that does answer a problem or a struggle that I have right now of like, my engagement has slipped a little bit. How can I bring that back up? So that's not bad as a choice. But there was a tripwire, or there was an offer on the back of the lead magnet, which I actually didn't even really pay attention to because I just wanted that download. But I did see in the content, it was immediately talking about how to sell high-level premium clients. And I went, that's interesting, because that's quite a leap from how do I get some more engagement into my Facebook group to how do I sell premium level clients? Is that my next logical question? It might be a problem that I'm struggling with, but that's quite a leap to take me from here all the way up here. And then there was the inevitable follow-up email, and that was talking, I didn't even look at the offer, but again, it was talking about how to sell high-level clients. And that's not a problem for me at the moment. I'm good with that. Thank you very much. But I was just really interested in that progression, because if you have dealt with the initial question of, is your Facebook group a little bit, is the engagement a little bit down? Well, here's a way that you can boost engagement. What am I thinking about? What is my focus? What is my actual problem? A logical next question could have been, instead of how to go from here to all the way up here, is, if you're struggling with engagement, what about how to attract more people to your Facebook group for free? Because if I'm struggling with engagement, a big focus for me would be, well, how do I get this Facebook group going? How do I start to build this community? So that is where my focus is. So if you could think about, these are some questions to increase engagement. These are some ways to get new people to your group without paying for advertising. Some simple steps to welcome your group so that they become welcome people to your group, so they become raving fans. Those questions all fit together and they make a logical progression. So let's put that to the side. That would have made sense, and I would have kept on moving through her content had that been the progression. I'm not going to necessarily jump from here to way up here. So if this is her ultimate destination, if this is where she wants people to go, then let's think about what might be more logical questions that the people who are really wanting to sign premium clients would have. Because if you don't want to have to drag people from here and get them all the way up here, why don't we just speak to the problem that this person is facing? And maybe this person is struggling with things like how to book people onto discovery calls. They might be struggling with how to pitch their offer on a discovery call without freaking people out about the price. They might be thinking about how to package their services to make it irresistible. They might be thinking about, how to move from selling single sessions to selling high-level packages. If you were to present a lead magnet that fitted more naturally with ultimately what you want that person to do, then that just, it makes it so much easier for them to make the transition. Is this making sense? Give me a yes if this is making sense in the comments, please, because this is such a big thing. We can't answer a question that we think they have and then go, oh, so come over here. Like, it's too big a leap. So either you've got to keep your content and your offers based around this. That would have been a perfect lead magnet if this person was creating an offer as to how to sell in Facebook groups. That would have been a perfect lead magnet. But if you're wanting to sell something along the lines of how to create a premium offer, then speak to the problems that people who are ready for that or who are at that stage of business are experiencing right now. I'd love to have an amazing offer, but I freak out when it comes to sales. I'd love to have a big level offer, but I can't get past these single sessions at the moment, right? Okay, awesome. Mara says, yes, the old eating the elephant. They don't have a taste and then swallow the rest whole. They eat it bite at a time. Yes. This does not mean that you need to create a 6-month funnel and answer every single little question to get them all the way here. Just start closer to where you want to take them, right? Or give them a big enough realization that they can make that leap a whole lot faster. I'm writing as you speak. Awesome. Okay. So I also want to use a perfect example. Like I mentioned before, Tavy is on the line today, and she is one of my, oh my God, I need that students. And she recently had a huge success in our group with creating a new lead magnet. So Tavy really thought about, where do I want to take people? What is the ultimate offer that I want to produce for people? And therefore, what do they need help with right now? So for those of you who don't know Tavy, she is a French language instructor, teacher, coach, mentor, / all-round amazing, gorgeous person. And she has got beginner level offers, but for this particular one, she was really wanting to attract people who are ready to move out of beginner land, who want to feel like they're not a beginner anymore and they're starting to really master the French language. They feel like they can actually hold a conversation. That is the destination that her potential clients really want to get to. So she crafted a lead magnet to speak to what is a problem that people who are at that stage of their French education, what are they struggling with? And so her lead magnet was really focused around how to choose the right verb. You can give me the better language because I might stuff this up on your behalf, Tavy, but how do I choose the right verb tense so that I'm not mixing up with my I'm not mixing up my go and gones, like past tense, present tense, future tense. So that is a problem that people at that stage of language learning struggle with. And so she was creating some hacks or some ways to memorize these so that people can automatically choose the correct tense without getting all jumbled up in their brain or without being halfway through a sentence and having to like really figure it out. Because that is one of the things that will shift people from out of beginner land to somebody who feels like they can master the language. Because if you're just learning a language, you stumble over every word. You have to like mentally put that puzzle piece together in your brain before you say it. And so many people don't even feel confident to say it. So this is Tavy just going, what's this one little puzzle piece that will stop you having to do that mental jumble and feel more confident to actually complete a sentence without worrying that you're completely stuffing it up. All right? Perfectly said. I hope you said it a bit better than I just said it. But what I really want you to see from that is Tavy has very cleverly chosen to target a problem that the people at the right stage of their learning will have. She could have gone right back to the beginning and said, you know, the 3 French phrases you must remember before you travel to Paris. That would have suited beginner learners perfectly. But she doesn't want to attract beginner learners for this offer. She wants to attract people who are ready to take that next leap, who are ready to move to that next stage. So she's chosen a problem that those people would have. And so a logical next step for that is how to choose the right verb. A logical next step was like, okay, great, you know how to choose the right word. So here's how to, like, here are some memory hacks to be able to slot those correct verbs into a sentence totally seamlessly so that people won't even know that you're still learning French, right? So here's how you remember the verbs, or you can choose the right verbs. Great. Here's how to put those verbs into a sentence. Great. And that just moves people so much faster towards her ultimate offer. And this was really telling because I just have to brag on Tavy's results. So she put together this new lead magnet and she was hoping to get 75 signups to this new lead magnet. She had a mix of organic traffic, so a little bit of warm traffic, but she also used some paid ads as well. She was hoping for 75 signups and she ended up getting 279 signups in just 3 weeks, which is out of the park for Tavy. She hasn't had those kind of results before, but by simply choosing to present a question that her potential clients would really struggle with, people go, oh my God, that's what I need. It's not necessarily that they're sitting there going, oh, like, I wish I could choose the right verb tense. But when you put something in front of like, hey, do you ever struggle with this? They go, yes, actually, that is the problem that I struggle with. How do I fix that? All right. Cool. This is good stuff. Good stuff. So I want you to really think about step number 1. What is the ultimate destination that I want to take them to? If that's where I want to take them, what questions do they have right now? Step number 2, create a lead magnet that answers those questions. and answers them in a way that really answers what they want to know rather than or as a priority over what you want to teach them. Use the content to teach them what you want to teach them, but remember to position the lead magnet, position the offer as something that is going to answer the question that they have. All right. And then step number 3 is to anticipate what is the next most logical question that this person would have, so that you can go, well, hey, if you wanted this, you probably also need this. And then you're immediately moving them forward. I'm just going to give you one more example to bring that one home, because I think it's one of my favorites of all time. So my coach, her specialty when she was first starting out in her business was sales. She really focused on sales. And so she created a lead magnet that was 10 ways to book 20 or more discovery calls each and every month. Now, if you sell over the phone, you would know that that's a pretty hot lead magnet, because booking discovery calls isn't always easy. So here's 10 ways to book 20 or more calls into your calendar each and every month. So as a lead magnet itself, very hot, great way to get people on board. But then as a next step, she presented that as the download. And then in the email sequence, the very next thing that she offered was like, well, it's great to get those calls booked, but do you want to know the 3 things that I do before each and every call that boosts my chances of getting a yes? It's like, of course, that is a logical next answer that I need. It's great that I've booked these calls, but now what the hell do I do with them? So she anticipated that. Here are the 3 things that I do before every call, because she's anticipating you are taking these actions to get people on your call. Here's the 3 things that you should do before every call to boost your chances of getting a yes. And then ultimately, she's moving them towards an offer, which was her sales training program of how do you structure the call? How do you answer objections? So that's the ultimate destination that she's taking people to. But it's a very short pathway from first contact to here's what you actually really need. All right. Let me know in the comments if this is really helpful for you, because I love this stuff. And this is the kind of thing that we dive more into in my group program. Oh my God, I need that. We are launching that in June. So if that's the kind of thing that keeps that catches your attention, you can stay tuned for that one. But we really dive into what is that ultimate destination? What is that ultimate program? And therefore, what does that first offer need to look like? And then we look at the messaging, how to talk about it in a compelling way, how to move them from here to here and move them towards that big offer. So that's what we really dive into in that program, which I absolutely love. And it's really telling with people like Tavy who are getting massive results from it as well. Okay, so that's how we actually position that lead magnet, and we pull people in, but we get them moving towards that ultimate offer. Now, one question that I get all the time is, great, but how do I actually choose what type of lead magnet I should create? You know, should I do a PDF guide? Should I do an ebook? Should I do a checklist? Should I do a video series? Should it be a webinar or a challenge? Like, there are so many different things that you can create to attract people to your list. And the answer to what should I choose is really down to what method, what delivery method, I'll call it that, is going to show you off the best. What delivery method is going to show your content off the best? And quite simply for me, I like video. I feel like I can connect. I feel like I can communicate my message a lot more effectively on video. I'm a good writer as well, but I think my writing comes to life when I just say it. So my preferred method is always going to be something like a live video. This is a lead magnet, right? Of here's some free training on how to craft a lead magnet. I love doing Facebook Lives in my group. I love doing Facebook Lives on my page. And obviously YouTube is going to be a big strategy for me going forward as well, because I just know that I like doing video and I show up well on video, and this is often the best way for me to show off my content. All right. But for you, perhaps writing is your strength, or perhaps, maybe having an infographic is your strength. You really need to think about, how are you going to best communicate your message that you want to get across? And that's really it. You could go deeper into that and just go, okay, well, what do my potential clients like to consume? And some people will prefer watching a video. Some people will never sign up for a challenge. I'm really about just going, it is so much more important for you to feel confident in what you're delivering. And hopefully that mostly aligns with how your potential clients want or need to consume that. But really, let me give an example here. Last year and through this year as well, I love doing 5-day challenges. And they have been one of the biggest winning strategies in my business is to run a 5-day challenge. And I'm going to tell you, I break all the rules when I run my challenges. They are quite in depth. The videos are too long according to the rules. And I probably, if I changed the way that I did it, they could potentially be more effective. I could potentially get better retention rates through my challenges. But I kind of go, you know what? What's going to suit me best? Where am I going to be able to really show off? And what is the method that I can use that the right people will find me and go, wow, I want to work with her. And for me, that's doing a challenge. And for me, it's doing a challenge my way. All right. So sometimes it's always great to have your ideal client in mind and how they want to consume content, but you also really need to think about how are you going to best perform, all right? And my final piece of advice here is nothing makes an unsubscribe happen faster than a shitty lead magnet. There is enough crappy content out there that you don't need to add to it. And this is the next question that I get all the time. It's, okay, well, what should I choose? Should I choose a video series? Okay, well, whatever is going to work for you best, whatever going to show you off the best. And the next question is, well, how much do I put in it? Because I don't want to give too much away because then nobody's going to buy my thing. And so people then go, well, I'll just create like a checklist or something. Like I'll keep it really simple. But I can't tell you, and you can tell me in the comments if this has been your experience as well. I can't tell you the number of times that I have downloaded a lead magnet, which sounded really great, and I open it, it's this shitty checklist. I'm like, really? Unsubscribe. Because you haven't given me any value. You haven't given me anything that differentiates you from the thousands of other people that I could potentially follow. And, Mara was talking about email minimalist. If you're not adding value, I'm cutting you from my email inbox as fast as I possibly can. So my answer for what do I put in it is give them your best stuff. Answer the question in depth. Give them as much as you possibly can without going over, you don't want to overwhelm them and give them too much that they can't actually go ahead and execute, but you want to give them your best stuff. And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you can see, I haven't really held back. I've told you my exact strategy. I've told you how I'm breaking this down. I've given you as much as I possibly can in a 45-minute training session, right? So give them your best stuff because that is what's actually going to endear them to you. That's what's going to make you feel like a valuable addition to their email inbox as somebody that they actually want to pay attention to. And it also makes people think, well, shit, if this is what she gives away for free, I wonder what her paid programs look like. They must be amazing. And here's the fear. But if I give all that stuff away for free, what am I going to have to talk about? What are they going to pay me for? And here's where I invite you to have a real abundance mentality when it comes to this. You have an endless array of ideas. You have an endless amount of things that you could potentially help people with. And I want to take you back to step number 1. Sorry, I got birthday hiccups. It's a thing. Totally. It's not because of the champagne. I want to take you back to step number 1. When I talked about how do you choose your lead magnet, I talked about how I break down my entire offer into 3 main categories: sales, offer, messaging. I take one of those categories and I break it down into all of the little micro slivers, all of the micro questions that people would ask me when it comes to messaging. And one of them might be how to write a killer headline. And so that becomes a lead magnet. There are still 100 other little slivers to do with messaging. I could break down all those different questions that people ask me when it comes to that. And that's barely scratching the surface of one of my pillars. I still also have this pillar and this pillar that I could talk about. And so to finish that thought, I can go as deep as I like onto each of those slivers because There is so much more. And by me going deep and answering your question thoroughly, hopefully you will go, wow, that was really helpful. I love her training. I want to watch out for the next one. I'm going to subscribe to her YouTube channel and hit the bell for notifications. Hint, hint. But that's my aim, is to over deliver and give you something that actually gives you value. And so you're really thinking, wow, I want to hang out with this girl some more. And so you're not hitting that unsubscribe button. If you're just going to skim across the top of your topic, if you're only going to give them a little bit because you want to save the rest for the paid offer, I don't know how effective as a strategy that is, because there are so many times where I've gone, oh, is that it? Like, I could have figured that out. Unsubscribe. And I'm sure you guys have done exactly the same thing as well. So I would much prefer that you choose one of those slivers and go really deep on that topic, give them as much as you possibly can, because that's what's going to endear people to stick around. And trust in yourself that you have an abundance of other topics and questions and answers that you could provide to this person when they do stick around. And here's my final thought on that. And I just said that, and as soon as I said it, the final thought went, I must be getting old. Is that what it is? It's okay to go deep. Go deep on that one topic. What was the final thing that I wanted to add to that? Oh my gosh. That's really annoying. Had everybody ever happened to anybody else? It's really annoying, particularly when you do it on a live stream, but that's okay. Shitty lead magnet, give me your best stuff. It's totally gone. I'm going to move on, and you know what I'll do? I'll move on, and then that thought will circle back around, and I'll go, or it won't, and I'll put it in the comments later. So I want to know in the comments, if you're still with us, if you can put in there, what has been your biggest takeaway? What is the thing that you really feel like you need to do when you're considering your lead magnets to make them more effective, make them must have, and to keep people actually sticking with you and moving towards your offer? So if you want to pop your biggest takeaways into the chat, that would be fabulous. And what I'm going to let you all know is that my first official YouTube video is dropping on Monday. And as I said, I'm going to be talking about how to craft really catchy headlines that get way more clicks and views on your content. And the reason why I wanted to make that be my first topic is because you spend so much time and energy and effort creating your blogs or your videos or your live streams or whatever it is that you're putting out there. And it is very easy for quality content to get lost amongst the noise. I trust that if you're here, that you actually create really amazing content. And so there's nothing worse than you putting out something that you go, wow, I think this is really good. And then it just gets met with crickets. So in the next video that is dropping on Monday, I'm going to be talking about how to actually craft a really killer headline that stands out from the crowd, that makes people stop that scroll and actually click on it, so that you are getting eyeballs on the brilliance that you've worked so hard to put together. So I hope you're going to join me for that video. If you have subscribed and hit the bell, you will get notified when it goes live. And I would love for you to join me in the comments on that one, because just like today, I'm going to be giving some feedback on some of the headlines that you put together. So when you join me for that video, you'll get some tips. You can pop your suggestions into the comments, and then I'll give you some feedback as well as to how to itchy nose, as to how to tweak them to make them even more effective. All right. Mara says, go back, revisit. Oh my God. I get stuck into some work breaking down some questions from the pillars. Yes, that is probably the biggest piece of work really of this entire training, is actually looking at your offer and going, okay, what are the questions? And I'm not going to be able to reach it, but I have a piece of paper where basically I break down the pillars of my business and I just brainstorm. I do it on little sticky notes, because then I can take the sticky notes and put them up on my calendar. But I think about all of the potential questions or topics that I could talk about when it comes to that pillar. And usually when you just brainstorm, just get it all out of your head. Well, I could talk about photos, I could talk about backups, I could talk about damage, I could talk about organization. Like, these are all the topics that Mara could talk about. So she can pull all of those ideas down on paper. And then when you look at them, the lead magnet is probably going to jump out at you, because that is the question most people ask, or that is the one that you could go into greater depth on. All right. Nicole from Birth Into Being says, consider the journey they are on, where I want to meet them, not where I'm at, not what I'm offering. Exactly. So So in Nicole's work, she supports women to have an amazing birth experience. And so she really needs to think about, okay, where are they? Are they pre-pregnancy? Are they pregnant? Is the birth right around the corner? Where are those people on that journey? And what are the questions or challenges or fears that that person has right now that her service can really help them with? All right. Belinda from Your Social Bee, to look at the big picture and then break it down into lead magnets that address the smaller problems and questions. Awesome. Doing a similar brainstorm as you speak. Fantastic. And step back to step in. I really like that. Awesome. It has been so fabulous to have you ladies here. Thank you for celebrating my birthday and my official YouTube channel launch party. Champagne will definitely be following. Please join me wherever you are around the world. And please, as I said before, make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And my first video will be dropping on Monday. So thank you all so much for joining me. I hope this has been really helpful, and I'll speak to you all soon.